feeling life's a fantasy. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. Let's go.
What's going on, everyone? Jason the Train Freak here, and welcome to Sidetrack Sunday for the third rendition for the month of August in the year of 2022. Man, has it been a minute since I have hosted Sidetrack Sunday. I actually looked. The last month I hosted was back in May, and that was due to some kind of unfortunate events that have happened to me personally. Nothing major, but, things that I've had to kind of deal with. But other than that, I want to say welcome. And I do got a couple of guests down in the basement. So we're going to have a real busy night tonight. We've got a locomotive to give away. I actually have it right here. This little guy. So we're going to do a drawing on the names on that later. We're going to talk about another upcoming contest. Yes, I will be doing another one for not just N-Scale, but also HO. So there's going to be a couple more locomotives up for grabs as well. I might throw in an unboxing and definitely want to see what, some of my guests down in the basement have going on as well. So before we get to them, let's go ahead and get started. See who's all here. We've got Lynn McCurdy. We've got Scott with Hillbilly Railroad. We got Dwight Curley, the Curly Express. We got Humanity Junction. So we got the first STS inmate in the house. And let's see, we've got Steve 87th, PSAP. And before I can really get started, Mr. Pictovid has sent me a super chat. So thank you. Towards a Conrail sign to class up the wall behind you. Yes, I do need a Conrail sign. Definitely for that. So thank you, Mr. Pictovid. All right, let's see who else. If I did not mention Steve 87th PSAP, Steve is in the house. And my chat just really jumped on me. That is nuts. All right. Let's see. We got FL Road Dog here. We got my mom, Kathy Wilson. We got Dave BNSF N Scale is here. Mr. Pictovid, who just gave me the super chat, is here. We got Thomas Grossi, Mason Dixon Railroad, Sean Pacific Railroad, Bernard C. We got NS 5107, aka Chasco. We got Trackside Mike in the house. We got Steven, who is the Wigwag Workshop, or we just like to say WWW. We got Arty from Ausmerica Model Railroading in the house. We got our second STS inmate, probably the ringleader of the group. Well, not necessarily the ringleader, but probably most of the brains behind the group, and that would be John with the Schuylkill River Valley. We got Santa Fe Bob here as well. We got, let's see, I think I said Mr. Jimbo Trains, but if not, welcome. We got Mr. Manny Fernandez, Opa Dodge, Anthony Dodge, the Model Train Outsider, is in the house. Now we got the ringleader in the group. Mr. Ray Boebel is here as well. And let's see, who else do we have? We got Martin Siersma here. We've got a lot of people chatting. Hey, Ron Moen is here. So Ron is the one who won the HO scale locomotive that actually claimed his winnings. And so he's had that locomotive for a while. We got Caboose 121. That is Cameron. We got Joe Rader in the Black Rock Central here. We got Grandpa Rails in the house as well. Mark E. Saunders is here. We got Dundas Junction Model Railroad. That is James Galton. For those who did not know that, he actually changed his YouTube channel name to Dundas Junction Model Railroad, and I like it. That's a good name, James. All right, let's see. Who else do we got in the house? Ken Amos is here. So welcome, Ken. Al Mar's in the house. Manshed Railroad. Manshed, I'll be looking forward to meeting you next week at the Central Arkansas Train Show in your hometown. So you better show up. Ian, Lehigh River Subdivision is here. We got Pappy Trigoglin in the house. And my beautiful better half, Grit and Grace Health and Wellness. That is Miss Freak, for those who don't know. And let's see, who else? We got Shay's N-Scale here, so welcome, Shay. We got Frank Steeler Fan is in the house. A lot of people. John Train, BFGR is here as well. We got Roy Eltham in the house. We got Rail Artists. And I think I'm caught up on the chat. Looks like Possum Bayou has snuck in. And I'm just making sure I did not miss anybody. Nathan DeLay is here. Southern Yankees Trains is here. So welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. Waycross Trains and the surrounding area trains. Welcome. And I think that's everyone. Nope, there's John Nofool. And I'm going to say that's everyone. I think it is. So if I missed you, say hello in the chat and I will catch it the next time. Oh, looks like CP368. Tim's in the house. So welcome, Tim. So let's see. What should we do next? I think I'm going to pull up Daryl. What's going on, buddy?
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
So I think we should go ahead and just do the contest first. You think so, or do you think we should go to the next guy?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
I know,
both
right?
Both of them are really good. So, let's just get the contest over with.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Hey, Split
Yeah.
Rock just popped in, and John Benicki also popped in. So welcome, guys. All right, so, Nathan DeLay is asking a question. How is the layout coming along? I know this is an impossible question. And how complete would you say your layout is? I would say my layout is probably 10% complete. So but I'm building a really, really big layout. So I haven't got a chance to work on it the past couple of months. It's been since June since I was able to do an update. So I haven't actually got to work on the layout since June. For those who do not know what happened, and all of my channel members actually got the perks of seeing all the damage. My HVAC unit is in my attic right above my hallway. And the condensation drain plugged up. The condensation pan overflowed. And it pretty much fell on the ceiling in my hallway, down into the wall that's between my hallway and my bathroom, and flooded out my floor. So I had ceiling damage, insulation damage. I had sheetrock damage to the wall that's between my bathroom and my hallway, which also has insulation as a sound barrier. And then, of course, we had to replace all the flooring, not just in my hallway, but it leaked out into the living room. So, and because my hallway and living room is technically considered one room, it all had to be replaced. It was roughly $8,500 to $9,000 worth of damage. And because of that, we had to vacate everything out of our living room so that way our contractor could do the work. And of course, which room does a lot of this stuff end up going into? The train room. So with that being said, I didn't get a chance to really work on stuff. Hey, it looks like Dave from Crooked River and Eastern is here. Welcome, Dave.
Hello, Dave.
All right. So let's go ahead and do the contest real quick before I bring up my next guest. So, and I would like to say Daryl. Daryl actually was the one who inspired this contest because he did a contest on his own. And I contacted Daryl and told him, hey, dude, I would really like to copy your idea and do one of my own. And now I know Daryl runs more modern stuff than I do, but, you know, I was like, well, I could do one with old school stuff. So
there's my modern right there.
Yeah, he's got modern stuff up there. And of course, I've got the older stuff, 50 plus years. So now, thank God, Ray is speaking about, the HVAC in the basement, where yours is with your train room. I didn't have to worry about it hitting my train room at all. Thank you, Dave from the Crooked River and Eastern Railroad sent me a super sticker.
Yeah, thank you, Dave, because Jason's going to share half of that with me. Thank you, buddy. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. It's going thirds. I forgot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we still got a guy down in the basement. So, but all right. So let's get to the contest. Basically, it was I pulled a freight train that was being pulled by my cab forward. So the direction of the train was moving forward, hence the cab forward. Locomotive was 4101. So that was one of the answers to the question. Next question was like, how many cars are in that consist? Not including the caboose, and it was 40 cars. And then the next question involved was how many ice bunker reefers were in that consist. There was 9. And then the next question was, what is the road number of the Union Pacific Employee Club car? And I'm not seeing that car. Well, let me grab it real quick. It's just right up here. See if I can spot it right here. So for those who participated in the contest but did not see, it was this cattle car. And it's got a little shield. I don't know how well you can see the shield right there. But these are the Union Pacific Employee Club cars that they stopped their program for some reason. Maybe Split Rock. I don't know if he's part of that program or not, but I have quite a few of these cars. I consider them collectibles. But this was the only one that ran in that consist. So you had to use the road number on that car, which was 50112. So that made the number really big. Then the next question was, there was one car in the consist. It was a double door box car. It's up there somewhere. And it had an open door, and you had to take that one and subtract it. So, and it was another 5-digit number, but it started with a 1. And then the last 2 questions was how many cotton belt cars were in the contest. And I think a couple of people got off by 1 number because they only counted the number of box cars in that one reefer. And I think they forgot to count, there was a 2-bay covered hopper that was a cotton belt car in there as well. And so the answer on that one was 9. And then the last one was subtract the road number of the caboose on the end. And so there was like 2 or 3 people that was off by 1 on the number. So unfortunately, I did not enter them in the contest. The correct answer was 38017. There was a couple of people that said 38018, and I think there was one person that said 38019. So the correct answer was 38017. The locomotive's heading forward. And then the last thing being is it was in the town of Wiener. So, and Heath is wanting to play bingo. Heath, I will give you the chips and all the cards and all the balls, and you can play bingo. And you can bingo every time. So
you can even bingo at my mom's Elks Lodge.
Ray, I'm sorry to tell you, but you were not off by 1 number. Your guess was actually correct. So let me pull that up here real quick. Let's add that to the stream. So the 4 people who actually got it correct was Mark Saunders, Sean McGee, Ray Boebel, and John Goforth, which I'm going to bring him, or he's not going to pop up in the stream, but I'm going to talk about him in a little bit because for those who don't know, yesterday was my birthday, and he gave me a really, really cool birthday surprise that I am going to share with y'all here in a little bit. So these are the 4 names. Now, Ray commented that he was doing it just for fun. So I didn't know if he really wanted me to add him to the wheel or not. So, Ray, I know you're in the chat. I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell me right now before I spin that wheel if you still want your name in for a N-scale locomotive or if you want me to take you out. All right, Ray is saying he wanted in. Okay, so Ray, you're in it. So, guys, there's a 25% chance you're going to win this thing. So, let's
So, Jason, before you get started, now, are you going to do a last man out, or are you just going to spin the wheel once?
You know what? Since you were the one that helped me with this contest, you get to tell me.
We'll do it last man. We'll do it last man standing.
Last man standing. All right, y'all heard it. Last man standing. Oh, Ray says he has an idea for that N-scale locomotive. So, all right, well, Ray, best of luck to you, buddy. All right, last man standing. I'm going to give it a couple more shuffles. All right, let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Let's see who the first culprit that gets knocked out. So this is definitely the not so congratulations. And that would be Sean McGee. Unfortunately, got knocked out. All right, Rick from the Foltz Bailey Model Railroad is in the house. So that completes the full STS crew. All right, next culprit.
And your honorary one is in the house too.
Yeah, D-Row Daryl. Oh, John Goforth got knocked out, so it looks like Train Freak Jr. is not getting another locomotive. Thank God. He's got more than enough. Oops. I forgot to take him out. There we go. All right. For all the marbles, it's between Mark Saunders and Ray Boebel. Hey, we got Dwayne Fork and Spoon Railroad in the house. Looks like Norman Rowe is here too, if I didn't mention Norman's name. So welcome, guys. All right, here we go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner for the loser. And it's Ray. Ray got knocked out. So it looks like our winner is Mark Saunders. Mark, I think I saw you in the chat earlier. So Shay's in scale. Did you see my post I put in there for the channel members? Because I did put a post in there. You should have paid attention to it. So Shay brought up a very good point. So for those who are the fireman level or above as a channel member are automatically entered into the contest. However, what I did for those channel members is I put up a community page post just for them and provided them the answers and told them to go comment that answer into the thing. So Marky Saunders finally won something. Yeah. Okay.
Congratulations,
so
Mark.
Congratulations, Mark. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to kill that. So stop sharing that. All right. So yes, Shay, if you want to talk to me on Messenger about that later, we can have us a good discussion, buddy. All right. Because guess what? Now that we did one contest, I'm fixing to open up a second contest. Probably going to open it Friday. I'm thinking Friday is going to be a good day to open it. So, and it's going to be, Split Rock said, good night, everyone. Shortest STS ever. Oh, wait. No, me, I'm definitely not the shortest one. I think John's got us beat. I think he did like 30 minutes. So, all right. So, speaking of next contest, and for you channel members, fireman level or above, you better pay attention to your community page post. And Mark, you need to send me an email with your shipping address and stuff so I can get that locomotive to you. All right, next contest. HO scale. This is what I got up for grabs. It's a Bachmann. It's DCC ready. So for those who like sound and whatnot, can put whatever sound decoder they want in it, or I could do it for you. Either or, doesn't mind. This is a EMD GP40-2R. So there you have it. And Frank Steelerman, new member, welcome. All right, N-scalers. I was lucky to get this one. So Fox Valley Models. I don't know much about Fox Valley Models, but I hear it's a good brand for N-scale. And so this is an ES44AC Norfolk Southern Heritage unit. It's the Monon unit. See if I can even pronounce that right. Monon Galeal. Yeah, I can't pronounce that. So Monon unit right there. All right. So keep an eye out for Friday's video. And keep an eye out for Friday's video on that contest. I got another question. It looks like Nathan was asking me how many cab forwards do I have on my layout. Right now on the layout, I have none because they're all taken off the layout. But I have one working cab forward, and then of course I do have the one scratch built cab forward that you built me. And let's see. He also says, I feel like I need more steam or diesels on my layout? Probably diesels. I wouldn't mind having a couple of steams, but and Split Rock asked the question, so is a regular steam engine called a cab backwards? Absolutely. It's definitely a cab backwards. So Monon Gayhala. Monon Gayhala. Okay. I still don't even know if I pronounced that right, but we'll go with it. All right, we got Corey in the house. We got Risden and Rome Model Railroad of Fostoria, Ohio in the house too. So welcome, guys. All right, so next thing. So we did that. Let's bring up our guests. Let's bring up the main attraction to the show. And hey, Jay, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's up?
AJ.
So, Jeff, the Model Railroad enthusiast, just popped in too. So welcome, Jeff. And the chat's flying by, so that's awesome. But while I got both of y'all up here, I just wanted to say thank y'all so much for taking the time out of y'all's schedules to host Sidetrack Sunday for me last month. I know it was kind of last minute spur of the thing. And unfortunately, none of the other guys were able to cover me at the last minute. So, like I said, I just want to say thank y'all a lot for, keeping STS going, because that would have been the first week since September of 2020 that STS would have missed a show if it wasn't for y'all. So, and I'm
Thank you
sure
very much.
I would say the other 4 members would probably agree with me, but I look at as y'all two as honorary Sidetrack Sunday members.
Thank you, guys.
So
Thank you very much. And thank you, Jason. And thank you, AJ. You were the star of the show.
Well, he's probably going to be the star again, because it looks like he's got a car in front of him, and I see a couple of covered hoppers kind of behind it that look pretty familiar too. So, hey, Mason-Dixon Railroad is an official passenger on the Freak Train. So welcome aboard. All right. So I got AJ up here because I worked out a deal with him in the past. I sent him a couple of my cars. One of them he's already done a video on, did an excellent job on it. I don't know if he's got that car readily available, but if not, that's okay.
I do.
He does. There it is. So I sent him a cotton belt boxcar, and I told him, I said, I want you to weather it and graffiti it, but with chalk graffiti, because that's what they would use in my era. So, and that one's going to be ran on the layout. However, this Great Northern car here, it's too modern for what I'm doing. And I told him, I said, I want you to go nuts on a live stream. So I have him here to go nuts. And so that's what he's going to do. And while he's going nuts, I am going to make him the big screen. So he could do whatever he wants to with it. This one is going to end up being on, most likely on the Queen shelf as a display piece. I might run it every once in a while, but it's mostly going to be a display piece. And that's because I do like to get other people within our community, especially those who are under the age of 18, who, still in school. This is kind of sometimes their way to pay for their hobby. So I always like to support the younger generation in that. So AJ, you could do whatever you want to on this one. Yeah. And while he's doing that, I actually ended up sending him some more cars in a deal between me and him on the list of items that I was selling. Stuff that's just too modern for my railroad. So for those who are looking for really good deals on some rolling stock, I still got that. It's a post in my community page that you can go and find. There's a link to a spreadsheet. But these are a couple of the extra cars that I sent him that he's weathered up for me. And he's done a real excellent job on these. I mean, just not too shabby, especially with the car only supposed to be in a year old as it's running on my layout. Hey, Ron Moen, welcome aboard the Freak Train as well, my friend. So he is a new member as well. And the High Plains Railroad, welcome. Welcome to Sidetrack Sunday. So, AJ, how long have you been weathering, my friend?
I've been weathering for about 4 years.
Oh, wow. So you started at 11.
Yes, I did. Over in Long Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't play with toy trains anymore, so I had to upgrade my game into more detailed $60 box cars and $300 locomotives.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, the cost of stuff has gotten real expensive.
Yeah,
and
it's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, so one of the cars I sent him was one's an Athearn, the other one over there is a Katie. So I told him, I said, man, them Katie ones, they're not cheap. So yeah, Joe Rader hit me up on the deals. He said he's real happy with his Railbox cars that he got. So we worked out a really, really good deal for him on that one. So not trying to make this a sales pitch or anything, but like I said, I plan on taking these cars to the train show. Speaking of the Central Arkansas and Hobby Show is next weekend in Conway, Arkansas. For those, if you're close by, I will have a booth there. And I do plan on selling this stuff at that train show, but I wanted to give y'all in the community first dibs. So if not, whatever it doesn't, it's going to go to the train show, and I hope to get it sold there. So, if I had any Tychos, would I consider converting them into my timeline of the layout? Absolutely, Nathan. I'm not being any type of discriminatory on any type of manufactured cars. If it fits my era, it's going to ride on the layout. So, the only car that I actually ended up selling from my era was a duplicate. And it's because I didn't feel like trying to renumber things. But Steve Childers was the one who ended up getting that one. So, all right. Shay is saying that AJ has weathered some stuff for him, and he does a great job. Yes, he does. And he's actually on a good... All right, so Joe is telling me to save the railguns. He said he's going to send me an email later. All right, Joe, I will definitely do that. All right. And yes, Dave, I did just see his railguns thing. So, all right. So, go ahead, man. I don't know what you're waiting on. We waiting on you.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear those spray cans start to rattle. Get the spraying.
All right. First thing we're going to do, this is brand new, no matte finish, no anything. We're going to disassemble the car. So we're going to take off the wheels first.
Oh, I figured you would already had that done.
No.
Okay, so Jeff asked me if I will be live next weekend. Probably not. Maybe. I might. Jeff, I will tell you this. Robert Flying Crow is supposed to be coming up next weekend and hanging out with me on Saturday. But I am also running a booth. So it might be a little hard for me to go live and then also go out and show everybody the different layouts and things like that. I might be able to, but it might be a little tough as well. But I will tell you that my family will also be attending. So maybe I could have Miss Freak go live and walk around the whole place. So, very good point, Ray. Very, very good point. So Ray will not be hosting Sidetrack Sunday next week. It will be going to the Foltz Bailey Model Railroad. So Rick is going to be hosting Sidetrack Sunday for the 4th week of August, and Ray is going to be taking a month off, which is much deserved because he actually ended up covering one of mine. So, speaking on this train show, in years past, and while AJ's doing his amazing work, in years past, this train show used to be in Jacksonville, Arkansas, which for those who are in the Air Force, I know there's a few of y'all in here know where that's at. It's just northeast of Little Rock, and it's, one town away from where I live. And the building, the 10 years that he was doing that, the guy that runs it, doing the craft and hobby show, he kept having to turn vendors away left and right. And I'm talking about big vendors, because it wasn't just local vendors. It was like people, Spring Creek hobby shop out of Nebraska, I think, or Kansas, would always come down. Okay, so it looks like he's fixing to dull coat it with Krylon matte finish. But and then, he had some hobby shops from like Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, Alabama, lots of people from Texas, New Mexico. He had quite a few vendors come in that were from out of state. And he just kept having to turn people away. And so he ended up finding a bigger facility in Conway, Arkansas, which is it's about 30 minutes northwest of Little Rock on I-40. So it's like an hour away from me. And the building, it's one big building, one big open floor plan. I've been in the building before, so I know what it looks like. And it's 3 times the size. And he sold out of vendor tables in June. And he starts promoting it in January. So, yeah, 3 times the size from the previous train shows in Jacksonville, and he's already sold out of vendor tables. So, Yep. See, Dwayne said he was stationed there, so Dwayne knows exactly what where we're talking about. And I think Joe Rader was another one that was stationed there as well. So, all right. So you're going to dull coat it first, right?
Okay, so no, I already dull coated it. I can't dull coat it inside, and I didn't want
Okay.
camera. So I went outside over here to the backyard, and I just sprayed the front, the other side, the roof, and the sides 2 times,
Okay.
just to make sure.
So 2 layers of dull coat.
Yes, sir.
Well, you got a much bigger can than I do, because here's my can of dull coat right here.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a little can. That might get me, a couple of shots.
Yeah, the dull coat I have is from Crayola, and I found out that works really well. So.
Okay. Rick decided to hop on the freak train as well as a channel member. So welcome, Rick.
We're gonna start the graffiti now.
Okay. And unfortunately, I can't pull this one up, but Shay's in scale member for 7 months, and he is a fireman. So Shay is actually one of my 2 longest tenured members of the freak train. So, all right. So Pappy wants to know, why dull coat first? Educate him.
Okay, so you're gonna want to dull coat first, because you want all the paints and the weathering powders to stick onto it. Now, if you have an acrylic paint or like if you're gonna do graffiti with these markers, you're gonna wanna dull coat it, or else it's gonna get like very watery. So this just gives it a good base to stick on.
Okay. And see, to tag on to what AJ is saying is, when I do any type of weathering, even on my own cars. Speaking of, I did a video on this one right here. Oh, let me get back in the light. So yes, there is a video on that car. Mr. John Arthur was the one who kind of challenged me on that one. I was always taught you work in layers. So everything that you do, you always dull coat it, or actually sometimes I use gloss coat. I'll gloss coat it to seal in what I do like. And then that way, if I do mess up and I have to kind of take off what I messed up, it will take off the clear coating before it takes off the work that I did under it. So that's the reason why I do it. All right, Nathan is saying, in my timeline of your layout, are there any scrap trains that were sent to a scrapyard or museum trains, rare stuff like that for delivery? So, Nathan, the era that I am modeling is the transitional era, 1958. So it was around the time that the Cotton Belt was actually phasing out their steam. They actually ended up sending a lot of their bigger steam locomotives, their 484 Northerns, out to California, where Daryl lives, to run commuter service. So there you have it. Hey, we got the plumber in the house. And Randall Ellison. Speaking of Randall Ellison, congratulations on your first live stream earlier. And I'm going to put a challenge to you that you should be the pre-show to Sidetrack Sunday every Sunday, because you did a heck of a job, my friend. And yeah, very good point, Split Rock. Semi-gloss or satin is very good to apply before using washes. And that's definitely what I did for my pen wash and my regular wash. Hey, we got Tom's NS layout here. Welcome, Tom. All right. Let's make sure I didn't miss anybody else, because the chat kind of jumped on me for a minute. All right. Looks like everyone is still here. So, yeah. Well, Frank, you're right. There was not much graffiti in the 50s. However, there was what they called chalk graffiti. So it wasn't, they didn't have spray paint back in the day, but they did have graffiti. A lot of the graffiti that you would see would be like, what is it called when you, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, the slant that goes across meaning 5. And basically that was a lot of the railroad crew that would use chalk on the cars. But there was a few people that would actually, graffiti using chalk. And then, of course, what happened when it rained? The chalk got washed off. Hey, Sparky's in the house. Welcome, bud. So we got Sparky here. So, yeah, that they did have graffiti back then. It just wasn't very pronounced like it is today. And it seems like, it just gets more and more pronounced. And I still don't know how someone fully paints the side of an auto rack. And I see those quite often. So, but I mean, like you go out in Daryl's area, he's got a locomotive out there that's fully graffitied on the side of the locomotive too. So, and that's something I don't see here. Not here in Arkansas. Hey, Robert Darby, welcome.
Yeah, fully tagged on like 3 or 4 of them.
So Robert Darby said he is lurking, waking up, and he needs to work on a SP GP9. Probably need to solder the truck to the board instead of stupid push pins. I'm assuming that doesn't sound like HO scale. I could be wrong. Unless he's talking about the PMP board, maybe. And if that's the case, I don't even use the little push pins on the PMP boards. I will straight up solder everything. So, yeah, Frank is saying that it's his fault because it took off in New York in the 70s. And, yeah, tagging locomotives is savage. I mean, you got to be brave to get on a locomotive to tag. It's a little easier to probably hide in a railroad yard. But, yeah. So when an engine is covered in graffiti, we call that the East Los Angeles paint shop.
That's what I was laughing at.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, when you shared that one video of the local Daryl, I actually went to and looked up the two. I think 2 were Jeep 60s and the other 2, I think, were Jeep 40s. And I actually looked them up, and neither of those 4 locomotives are UP locomotives. They were actually Southern Pacific and Cotton Belt locomotives before. So, all right. Were there any pranks on trains for real in your timeline of like the misspelled words that were graffiti? Because DJ shows a video with a Lionel boxcar and a real photo of the real thing. Nathan, that's a very good question. The thing about Lionel is don't get me wrong, they do make some things after prototypes. But Lionel also makes a lot of fantasy stuff too. And I seen Microtrains do it as well. It was like for an April Fool's joke. Roy Eltham, I think, ended up buying some of the cars that Microtrains did in N-scale, where they made a Cotton Belt car. It was a covered hopper on one side, it said Cotton Belt. On the other side, it said Uten Belt instead of Cotton. So if that's kind of what you're talking about, I don't think the railroads did that much. And back then, it wasn't really a company like Trinity or Gunderson that made their cars. Back then, a lot of the railroads made their own cars back then.
Hey, Jason.
Yo, what's up, AJ?
All right, so just to make sure, you want this a little bit more modern, right?
Go all out. You do your thing.
All out.
Go nuts. That's what go nuts. You do what you want to do on that car.
All right, hey, just remember this. You told me to go all out.
Go all out.
So I'm going to go all out.
Go all out. Show us what you got. All right, so Corey's saying a tagged locomotive is like a hot girl with face tattoos. Makes sense. So, Split Rock wants to know, are you writing hashtag blame Heath on the side of that boxcar?
Maybe. If you want.
That would be a good one, Jason.
Yeah. Yeah, see,
Actually, Heath should hit him up for that one.
That's what I know, right? Heath, there you go.
Right?
Send AJ an in-scale card and
Yeah.
have him make it your Blame Heath logo, and I
There
guarantee
you
he would
go.
do it for you.
Absolutely.
And then if that car ever derails on the Riverside Transfer, or I think that's the name of your layout, Heath. You can always blame yourself. All right, let's see here. So Steve87 said they only tag stuff that ain't movie. We have storage areas that go for miles, just sightings, no yards. Yeah, there's a locomotive storage area I know close by, but it's out in the middle of nowhere. Like it's in farm country. And when I mean farm country, I'm not talking about cattle. I'm talking like agriculture, like rice fields, soybeans, stuff like that.
Oh, Bakersfield.
Yeah,
Fields.
probably on a smaller scale.
Well,
And
when
Nathan said, No, go ahead, Daryl.
When I think of Bakersfield, I think of Freeman balers and John Deere balers. That's what I see Bakersfield as.
So Nathan said that I answered his question perfectly. So thanks, Nathan. Yeah, don't do what Frank is suggesting. Yeah, don't put Heath's face on it. You could put Heath's face on his Blame Heath car. That would be the icing on top of the cake. Randall is saying that he saw a UP car once in Trains magazine that was graffitied under the name, so it said, "We will deliver pay cuts." I would say the best graffiti job I've ever seen on a locomotive. It was a UP locomotive. They took the U and turned it into an O. And so it said Onion Pacific. And then under that, they just tagged it and it said service that will make you cry.
Wow.
Well, I got a story. I service a company in Southern California who works for BNSF. I shred for this company. So they hire out the rail workers for BNSF and they take care of a lot of stuff. So upon walking into the office, the first thing I noticed was all the art from locomotives that somebody had professionally taken of graffiti, and they had made pictures out of all the graffiti. And I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. You know, can you just imagine just walking into a building and just seeing trains just as art? And that's what they did on the walls. So
yeah, that's interesting. All right, Nathan is asking, what is the oldest locomotive that I run for my layout that would have been ancient that would run on a layout? Oh, that's a good question. Man, I don't know what. I don't have any AHM, Tycos. I don't have any of those type of locomotives. I'm assuming you're talking about the actual model in general and not the prototype. So most of my stuff is pretty modern. These would probably be one of my oldest ones. And these are Stewart Hobbies. This one I custom painted and decaled and added on the grab irons, which I need to repaint my grab irons. Here's the B unit. That's probably my oldest ones. I would say that I do that I run. Like I said, I don't have any Tycos or AHMs or I don't even have any Atherm blue boxes on the layout, to be honest. So, oh, there goes my air conditioning unit. Turn that thing off. All right, let's see here. Yeah, Sparky, you're doing a great job on that upper deck on your layout, and I really like your trees. That's really cool to watch your that train to go through it. You need to get with Container Man and tell him to send you some containers for your well cars. You had a lot of empty well cars. So, all right. So, High Plains, no sarcasm intended. Is it better to hand, in other words, no airbrush paint, or is it better to put sticker decal graffiti on or paint? So I think what he's asking is it better to hand paint graffiti or put decals on the graffiti and then weather it? I think that's what he's asking.
Okay. So it depends on the person. Now, if you can do graffiti, I would say try to do graffiti with like a marker, like how I'm doing it. But if you can't really do graffiti and you really like graffiti, I would go for decals. But at the same time, if you do like doing graffiti with markers, you can also do it with an airbrush by cutting out like a piece of tape and then put it right there. And then like look at how it's black right here. The letters are, I would spray paint it black. So the whole snail would be black and it would be no white lines or anything. And then I would come back with the white paint marker and then I'll do the lines, making the snail graffiti. But I'm just, it's
so now speaking of your paint pens or your markers, I got a couple in here that want to know what type of markers or pens is AJ using.
Okay, so I'm using these right here.
So those are Uni Posca. I think, didn't you say you get those off of Amazon?
Yes, sir. I got these off of Amazon. You can get these on eBay, or you can go into like Target or Michael's. You can get some of these. They're pretty cheap, and they work really, really good.
So I was shaking my head too. My wife said, "Jason, you're gonna burn up in there without that AC." Actually, I turned it down to 66. So hopefully I'll have a while before I start burning up. Probably not as burning up as Daryl.
Oh no, it's and actually it's a little bit cooler here in California, but my garage still says right now it's like at 98, and I'm at 6 o'clock in the evening.
Better you than me.
I'm used to it. I mean, we've had almost 8 weeks of just 95 plus degree. Now,
wow.
JD lives a couple hours away from me. He's in a different community, so he's not as hot. So
where's he living? I want to go over there.
I won't say.
Oh, all right.
I'll just say JD lives near the coast. I'll just say that.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. All right. So Edward, Happy Valley Hobbies is in the house. Welcome, Edward. And John Schuylkill, thank you so much for posting AJ's channels up in the chat. John's always amazing when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna scroll down, look around. Hey, we got DES Media Productions. That is Dave P in the house as well. All right, so Nathan is continuing off his question. Actually meant the Otis locomotive as the prototype in real trains and is wondering if that was a bunch of a thing. All right, so I can easily answer that question. The only problem is it's not in running condition. So one of these days I will have to get it fixed, but I have a Bachmann Spectrum 280 consolidation that has been custom decaled as a cotton belt locomotive. And then the second one would probably either be that cab forward, the SP cab forward, or I also have another Bachmann Spectrum that's a 482 light mountain. So, all right. So High Plains, I think he was asking about Insco. He's a beginner at weathering and aging stuff. Thank you for your information. I enjoyed the hobby, the information from the streaming nation. High Plains. So one thing I would definitely recommend you to, and it doesn't matter if you're Insco, HOSOZ, G, whatever. There is a YouTube channel out there called JC's Rip Track. He is phenomenal when he's got a playlist on there, and it's pretty old, but he is phenomenal when he explains the different levels of weathering your car. Like when you talk about fades, pin washes, graffiti, if you want some of the graffiti, chip marks. I mean, everything. That's who John Arthur turned me on to. And I watched that whole series, and it made a lot of sense as far as understanding on how to weather cars because I'm fairly new to that as well. All right, let's see here. I'm looking to see who else has popped in. I think I got behind on the chat. Let's see. JD is still here. Okay, so Thomas, have you ever renumbered your duplicated road numbers on rolling stock? If yes, where did you get the decals and what type of decals? So the answer to that is yes. And the way I did it was micro scale sells just letters and numbers. You just have to make sure you get the right font type and then, just kind of measure up the size. Sometimes the sizes will be a little off, and if they are, then take off the whole number and even the reporting mark letters and put new ones on there. If you've got AccuRail cars, you can actually contact AccuRail, and they will send you extra decals for some of the cars that they have. So that's what I do on that one. Split Rock's got a question for everybody. What is her favorite method of fading cars as a paint? I always do a wash. I will clear coat it, and that's what I did here. That was the first thing I did. On this one was a wash. And let's see, do I have its sister car easily visible? I'm not seeing it. This one's not its sister car, but you can tell the difference if I hold these up, how white and how not so white that these two cars are. So the first thing I did on this one, while AJ is still graffitiing, I'll talk about just weathering. Dude, that looks good.
You guys like that? That's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty sweet. I like how you made it go on the door too.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I clear coated it first thing. I did just a basic wash with a light brown because the car color is brown. And that way I got kind of that brownish yellow, color on the letterings, the reporting marks, like that. Then I clear coated it again, probably 2 coats of clear coat. And then I did what's called a pen wash. It's a black paint, and it's where you get like in all the crevices and stuff. I did it down the ripples or the rivet lines. So it kind of looks like water stains and whatnot. I really did it on the top, especially like on the walkways, the ladders, grab irons. I did it on the sides, all in the rivets, or not the rivets, but the ribs and everything of both the A and the B end of the car. So that was the next thing on that one. Clear coated it again. And then I started using weathering pastels. And I'm not really a fan of it because it took a whole bunch of layers, but you can see I gave it like a dirty look here, like it's been out in California, in Arizona, New Mexico. Because a lot of these Blue Streak fast freight cars would come from, St. Louis at its most northern point, go down into Texas, and then out west to Los Angeles. That's what the Blue Streak fast freight or the Blue Streak merchandise was known for. So I wanted to make sure that this car was really, really dirty. So that's, my example of doing it. Now, JC's, he'll tell you to use enamels. I used acrylics. So you could do it one way or the other. I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat. All right, looks like the chat jumped up on me again. And he says that he is not here. He fell asleep. So, nighty night, Heath. That's unless you're dreaming. He could be dreaming. Hey, Off the Rails is here. Welcome, Off the Rails. Let's see. Who else has popped into the chat? I think everyone is. I don't think anyone new has popped in. So, wonder how many real cars he has done. I don't know who he's talking about there, but okay. I must have missed that in the chat somewhere. Oh, and I see High Plains had, let's see here, just went through some type of surgery. So I hope you a speedy recovery on that one. And FL Road Dog wants to know, Daryl, are you awake? You awake, Daryl?
Yeah, I'm awake. Thank you, George. Yeah, because I'm probably just sitting in the background, just I don't know. I guess I'm just here for show. I guess I don't know. I'm good though. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much, George.
All right, Dwayne, you have a good night, my friend. Pappy, you have a good night as well. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to make AJ small again because I've got a birthday gift that I do want to share with everyone. So everybody here gets to see it before the next layout update video. So that's one of the perks of being inside Sidetrack Sunday. And we got a couple of people popping in. We got Gary Shanks here, and we got Mojave Model Railroad. Tina Maria's in the house. Welcome, Tina. All right, so let me do this. I'm going to move myself here. I'm going to leave AJ small. So yesterday was my birthday for those who don't know. And my friend John, let me run these tags off real quick. Let me do this. So my friend John Goforth, who I haven't seen in the chat tonight, built it. He's been working on this building for me for the longest. And this is an ice dock that is going in the town of Brinkley, which is going to be off of my interchange yard. And what he ended up doing was the dock itself can service 2 of the 40-foot ice bunk reefers, 36 foot as well. And he built that one out of a kit. However, the ice house and the stairs to the right of it is completely scratch built. And I think he did an amazing job on it. And he even detailed it, which you really can't see from this camera. I could probably try to zoom in on it, but I think it just might be a little too dark. Okay, that's as far as I can zoom in. But you can see, like, right in front of the stairs, there's like a gas or an electrical meter. You can see the condenser on the top of the deck or the shadow of it. So on the layout update, I will try to get some better views of it for everyone to see when I do that. He also painted it, weathered it, even added lighting to it. So the inside of the building does have light, and under the dock also has lighting as well. And what I thought was really cool is, most of the time when we're trying to light our buildings and stuff, we're always trying to find ways to hide the wires, right? He actually took the lighting wire and ran it from the dock to the ice house building and made it look like actual electrical wire that was running from, between the two pieces. So I think he did a really, really good job on that build there. So Sparky, the house is there. It's the right side of the building. It's a smaller ice house, so it makes its own ice. And he did give me some 3D printed ice cubes as well. And there's one on the ramp, going down, but you really can't see it from this camera angle. So, but that's going to be a neat building to start, using operations with, dropping cars off, picking cars up. Just a neat little piece there. So I wanted to share that. And then the other thing I've got is I got a box. And it's kind of a birthday present to myself in a way, but I like to say that my wife gave it to me because of the fact that, well, what they say is mine is hers and what's hers is hers, right? So, but I ended up getting a locomotive, and so I haven't opened it yet, so that's what I'm actually going to do right now. While AJ is still working on that Great Northern car. All right. No peanuts, Sparky. It's all bubble wrap. And Split Rock is saying, don't forget to add bags of salt with the ice. I do know that you're not supposed to put ice cubes in your hand with salt. That will actually burn your hands. Ask me, how do I know? I've tried it. I was actually dared. Oh, wow. He sent me the wrong locomotive. That is different. Yeah. I had the wrong locomotive sent to me. This is not what I ordered. Canadian Pacific. So, yeah, that's interesting. That isn't what I call an unboxing fail. I wonder if he sent my locomotive to someone else who bought a locomotive. Because what I was supposed to end up getting was a Missouri Pacific BL2. That is definitely not a BL2. So.
God damn it, my dog scared the hell out of me. Oh my
Comedy on Sidetrack Sunday. All right. Steve said, wow, a new loco. Didn't he just say Freak Jr. has too many locos? Yes, he does have too many locos for his layout. I cannot have too many locos. So, all right. I'm going to scroll back up on the chat a little bit. I think I missed a few comments. Hey, Mystic Railroad here. Voodoo's in the house. And that is an inside joke between me and Mystic. So, and for all of those who wished me happy birthday, thank you so much. Much appreciated. Yeah, I know ice cubes. I mean, to me, they're ice cubes because they're really, really small. But, you know, when you multiply them by 87 by 87 by 87, yeah, they would be blocks of ice. So technically, it is HO scale blocks of ice. So, all right. So Authorell says, hey, Daryl, not sure why I had a dream that I had a random dude bending over and shooting explosive somewhere everywhere last night. Oh, boy.
I caught that one. And the only thing I can say, OTR, it had to been how to put on a toilet paper roll in the bathroom. That video that I did.
That was funny, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you know, it just I couldn't resist it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. So
Ron says, you know, you're getting old when you need to notify the fire department before you light all the candles. Yeah, I get that one. Hey, Train Fan 120's here. Welcome. All right, let's see here. I'm going to try to catch back up on the chat. Is there such thing as a wrong loco? Yes, unfortunately, if you're running operations like me and you have a certain railroad, there's definitely, you can get the wrong locomotive. So, yep, that means now I got to email that guy. It was an eBay purchase. So, Dave BNS says, snuck up on you, AJ. You're supposed to acknowledge his existence. So.
I hope like screen records that or something because that was.
Yeah. All right. And then let's see here. So generally, ice came from frozen lakes, then packed in straw, hay, blankets. It would last, depending on the weather, it would last into the late summer. Oh, that's interesting. And that probably was very true for a lot of the northern states, but not a lot of your southern states. So, okay, hold on.
Look at this, guys.
Jason,
cool,
the train. Dude, that's cool.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah.
Like a small
That is.
logo.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's a cool logo.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, now you have your name on this car, and then you have like another graffiti back here. So let's get to the weathering process because he said to go all out, so it's gonna. Ooh.
Yeah, go all out. Go all out. You go nuts.
All right, so I'm gonna go get a charger for my phone. I'll be right back.
Okay, we'll be right back then. All right, so Tina Maria is saying, I have my trains I run and my trains I collect, and I collect way, way too many. I think that's all of us.
Yep. That is all of us. That is me, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Jason would not want to see my consist then. He'd have a nervous breakdown. Well, it's your railroad. I wouldn't have a nervous breakdown from your railroad, but for my railroad, you know, I am modeling a specific location, a specific era. So when it, you know, when it comes to that, you got to have specific top things that you would see on those railroads. And so the railroads that I have incorporated in my layout is, of course, the Cotton Belt, which the Cotton Belt was a subsidiary of Southern Pacific. So it was very common to see SP and also TNO, Texas New Orleans, equipment that was on the Cotton Belt route. The railroads that I'm interchanging with is the Rock Island and the Missouri Pacific. I included a Missouri Pacific yard in the bottom level of my layout. So that whole first video in my Delta Pines, or I think it might be video number 3. It's whichever that shows the green layout plan is no longer legit, because I have made a lot of changes since then. And that's right. You never have enough locomotives. I keep buying more. And that's the thing. Like when you're running like full operations, you got like a times table of every single train, then yeah, you cannot have enough locomotives because, you know, I'm running, let's see, 1, 2, 3 just on my Cotton Belt, not including the other railroads, just the Cotton Belt. I'm running 3 different locals. I'm running 3 southbounds, 3 northbounds. You got yard switching duty to do as well. And then you've also got the passenger. I've got a southbound that comes in and then a northbound that goes out. And you got to have extra locomotives sitting in the roundhouse or the engine shed. So that way you can, you know, swap out the crews. So yeah, you got to have a lot of locomotives when you're thinking, you know, that many trains. And during my era, most of the mainline stuff was ran by F units. So, you know, you're talking 2-3 units per those 6 trains running there. The locals mostly have 1, maybe 2 units at the most. But, you know, there you have it. But yeah, I incorporated a Missouri Pacific yard to interchange with the Cotton Belt in the main town that's going to be on the bottom level of my layout. And keep in mind, I haven't started construction on the bottom level because I don't want to try to climb on top of that level to do wiring on the top level. So I'm doing the top level first for that reason. But I've got enough of the layout done so that way I can do, you know, a semi scale of operations. I can run, you know, a local, one of the Cotton Belt locals, and then I can run my Rock Island local as well. So, all right, let's see here. And yeah, James, that's right. You can never have enough locomotives. I mean, look at Ray Boebel. I think he's got the most locomotives out of all of us. All right, let's see here. So High Plains is saying that is some awesome graffiti. I agree.
Oh, thank you guys.
Yep.
All right.
So I'm just going to kind of scroll through, see what I find. Tina saying, yeah, I get a lot of grief because I run East Coast, West Coast trains. Heard when you grew up in New England and I've lived in Nevada for 18 years, you end up like way too many road names. Being in Arkansas, I see every single Class 1 locomotive. I caught a Canadian Pacific the other day attached to a Union Pacific consist. I see Norfolk Southern, CSX. I see KCS all the time. And BNSF, there's actually a BNSF local that runs on these UP main lines here. So I see them all. So for me, if it's the Class 1s today, foreign power, I mean, it's fairly common. Oh, and Canadian National too. And I've even seen the Canadian Nationals with Illinois Central reporting marks. All right, let's see here. Let's see what else we got going on. All right, so Jason, why the BL2? What was wrong with the F series? So the Mopac locomotive that I am running, that's going to be running on my layout, it's not a mainline runner. And that's because the Mopac mainline is very, very short. It's just long enough for an interchange yard. So the BL2 would be a good road switcher engine. because in my area, the Mopac's biggest yard, and it's still there today, is the Union Pacific North Little Rock yard. But they had a small yard in Pine Bluff, the town that I grew up in, and that was a big cotton belt town. That Mopac would, take some cars and, interchange with the cotton belt there. So that's why I was thinking of a BL2, because my Rock Island's an Alco RS1, so I kind of wanted something a little different. And Cotton Belt and Southern Pacific didn't have any BL2s, so and to me it's a really neat looking locomotive. Yeah, absolutely. If you're modeling a specific era, now my layout is completely freelance. So it does have prototypical named towns, areas are in a prototypical order. However, all the industries on my layout, not prototypical. But all the railroads are. And I even went as far as finding a times table for the Cotton Belt and those interchanging railroads. And the train names that I use on my layout are actually from that times table. So it's a little tougher, when you try to do something era specific instead of, just throwing it like an SD70 Ace with cattle cars behind it, So there you go. But see, Ray never mentioned how many locomotives. Oh, yeah, he did. Way up here. Yeah, 85. Does anybody have Ray beat? I am very curious.
85 locomotives?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what he said. 45, which are on the layout.
Jeez, that's a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely. I definitely agree with Split Rock on that one, because like now when I go to train shows, I'm not just going to buy. Like now I'm looking for specific things. Same thing when I go to the hobby shops, I go and look for specific things that will fit for my railroad. Now, yesterday when I went to the hobby shop, I did end up buying a locomotive that doesn't really fit my era, but I was like, it's going to go on my queen shelf. It is a Athearn Blue Box, and I gave I think it was 10 or 15 bucks, but it's a Southern Pacific Olympic unit. So, and it's a dummy. It's even got plastic wheels. So that's really the only thing I end up buying is locomotives that I can throw on a queen shelf. Yes, so that is exactly right. Train Friend that's what I'm doing. It's called Proto Freelance or Proto Lance. I like to call it Proto Lance. It's a freelance layout, but the operations are prototypical. And that could be why SP never converted any of their F units to it or bought them, I guess. All right, let's see here.
So back to Mojave Model Railroad. I just read her comment.
Which one does it start with? Is it this one?
Yeah, it's that one.
Okay. Yeah, I just got down to it. I'm so behind in chat.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to answer. That's how I run my layout. I've got all Class A1 railroads, and I buy them just exactly what you just said. And that's the fun of running a layout. And especially mine being modern, I can run whatever I really want. But I basically hear you on that, because I buy trains just because they look great. The paint scheme's awesome. And I put them on my layout, and I run them. So.
I mean, I used to be that way. Absolutely. And I am kind of that way with some of my rolling stock. All right, let's see here. Now, one thing I will say is for those who are modeling modern, like today, man, y'all have so much more options than us guys like me who are sticking to an older era, because the manufacturers today are not making as much stuff that is older than modern.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we were just having the discussion just before Randall Ellison went off. We were saying that N scale has just completely just taken off.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's just amazing what N scale has done.
Yeah, that door looks good.
Yeah. It's going to look much better right now once it dries up. It looks a little shiny, but it's going to look better right now.
See, that's what I call a pin wash.
Yeah. Yeah, this one?
So there's actually a joke about that, since my wife owns her own company as a personal health coach. She doesn't have to go to a 9-to-5 job. So there's a lot of days that I will contact one of the local hobby shops and be like, hey, I need you to put this on back for me. And my wife's going to come up there and pick it up for me. Especially because this hobby shop, he sends out daily emails of the things that he gets in, whether it's new, estate. If it comes into the store, he lists it on an email. I get those emails daily, so I get to see what all comes into the hobby shop before I even go up there. Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that. And that's part of the reason why the cost has gone off the chart, too.
Yeah.
I mean, details. I mean, back in the day, you would think like Proto 2000 for HO scale was like highly detailed. And then you get Atherm Genesis, and now you got Atherm Genesis 2, which is even more detail. And the scale trains, rivet counters, and the museum pieces, man. Used to, if you wanted details, you had to go brass to get the details.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So, Nathan, why do you want freelance with operations? Why not do the real places? I'm wondering it's because the real one is too complicated or too big for the real railroad. The real reason being because the real places didn't really have much to offer. So there wasn't a lot of switching. I mean, when you think about it, like if I was to just go off the real places, then my town of Wiener and the town of Hickory Ridge would just be a blink and you miss it type places. You wouldn't have any switching at those two towns. You still had the interchange at Brinkley, and then you had an industry in Stuttgart, but that place is actually going to be represented as a helix on my layout. So that's kind of why, I just wanted, switching puzzle, for someone that's learning operations, kind of give them an area where they don't have to run on the main line, but they still got to think a little bit, and that's Hickory Ridge. And that's why I've got like a few industries there. But I mean, Hickory Ridge had an industry, Wiener had an industry, Stuttgart had an industry, and all three of those industries were grain elevators. When you look at the Cotton Belt Railroad, if you go from Pine Bluff to St. Louis, that was mostly farmland where they had rice, soybean, and cotton. That was their major crop. If you go Pine Bluff down into Texas, then it changes. You have more like cattle. You had a lot of logging and timber industries down that way, paper mills and whatnot. Pine Bluff had a really big paper mill. So if I was to really try to go 100% prototypical, it just wouldn't really offer a lot as far as running operations on the layout. So that would be one. If I was to ever tear this layout down, which I don't plan on doing, and if I was to build a layout that was actually 100% operations, I probably would do the Ashley, Drew, and Northern in Crosstead, Arkansas, where they had a plywood mill, they had a paper plant, and they had, a place where they took logs and chipped them into wood chips all in one spot. And for me, that would be a good around the room layout there. But that would be really the only one that I would try to do 100% prototypical. All right, let's see here. You only need 17,000 to put decoders in all 85 engines, extra for keep alives and speakers. And even more than that if you want to go with the new Soundtrack's Blue Nami decoders. Because those are not cheap. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Rapido is top notch. You just can't see it because Rapido does it all underneath detail. Yeah. You see it when it derails. I do have one Rapido locomotive. It's a SW1200. Doesn't fit my era, but I've got one. All right, so Nathan is saying, for his opinion, he would rather buy a train that was cheaper because I can modify it, and would rather make about details because I can add that or scratch build. But that's his opinion. And I think Nathan's locomotives are some of the coolest I've ever seen. I mean, who scratch builds locomotives? Only Nathan DeLay does. Or that's the only person I know that does. I've got, where's it at? It's up here. I've got the whole train. I'll see if I can't tilt the camera up so you can see it. Turn it this way. There it is. That little train. I'm going to make myself a little bigger. There you go. But yes, that is my Nathan DeLay train sitting on the shelf right above my head. So now I got to get my camera fixed. All right, let's see here. There we go. All right. All right, if you want an NW2, then you need to do some chopping. I've got an NW2, and I plan on doing an NW2 and putting sound in it. It's a Kato NW2, which has the split chassis, so that one's going to be a booger bear.
Split Rock had a question. Scroll back a little bit.
Got it. Is it that one?
Yeah. Yeah, Thomas, my layout is DCC. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget the day I saw DCC down at the original Whistle Stop in Pasadena, California, right when it came out. Never saw anything like it. Fell in love with it ever since. So everything that I had DC got packed away. I've been DCC ever since. I just don't have the sound. I just don't have the sounds on, especially with my new scale trains. They're obnoxious, but they sound awesome. Wow, they sound really good.
Yeah, when you get several locomotives with sound on at the same time, it gets pretty loud.
Yeah.
I've got a ABBA that are all force sound, and try force sound locomotives right there together. I mean, you could do that with your scale trains too. It rumbles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely some sound.
Yeah, and these two new ones, the Canadian Veteran with the BNSF, those are the latest ones out. The sound of them is just so it sounds really real. Is really what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So,
what is more popular, DC or DCC? I would say DCC is going to be more popular.
Absolutely, hands down, DCC is the top.
DCC just gives you so much more control.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's more finicky, don't get me wrong, but you definitely have a lot more control. And see, I still got a lot of locomotives that are DC or DCC that don't have sound, and I got to replace the decoders to put sound in them.
Yeah.
So, OTR is saying an NW3 and an NW4. Do they make NW3s and 4s? I thought it went from an NW2 to SW7. Now he's saying NW3 and a 5. I'm so confused. And that's not hard to do. So AJ, what are we doing right now? I see you're rubbing stuff.
Okay, so I think I just found a new technique that I never tried.
Hey,
But
yeah.
okay, so what we did on this side, we're not done. There's gonna be a lot more. But this side was before, right? And then this side is after. So you can see how it's a little bit more darker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Closely, you can see small streaks. And that right there is not acrylics. It is not oils. Those are weathering powders. And what I used to
Nice.
do that was I got the Q-tip, I ran it across, and then I had one of these. It's just a small like rip of one of the
Shop towel.
like a shot towel or napkin, and then I streak it down, and it gives it like an extreme amount of detail that I just found out right now. And then I used 70% isopropyl alcohol to like put on this. So I opened it up, put a dab, streak it down.
Okay.
And then it gives it really nice streaks. It's almost like a wash. It looks like I put a wash on it. But it was weathering powder. Super easy.
Cool.
Right.
All right, Daryl, you got a question. Trackside Mike, do you have CN on your layout?
It's coming up right now.
All
As a
right,
matter of fact, I'm going to slow her down. So till she comes into the picture. And then
so an NW5 was similar in appearance to the RS1. Okay.
all right, so I'm going to turn the sound on this. So just so people know that, I mean, what I'm.
And while Daryl's doing that, Manny Fernandez wants to know, is it easier to weather N scale or HO?
For me, HO scale. But I have
HO.
the scale, and it's extremely easy as well.
And Curly said, did he draw that pig on there? There's a pig?
Oh, talk about the goat.
Yeah, it's a goat. Great Northern's mascot was a goat, Dwight. Did there any railroad actually have a pig? Actually, yes. Southern Pacific had the Golden Pig Service. So, but that wasn't till like in the 80s. Arty said, look like my discounts like my pay raise. Not going to happen. I think he was talking earlier about 50 locomotives. All right. All right, Mark, I just posted it for you. Let me know when you have it so that way I can remove it. Yeah, Rocky the Goat. And Ray is saying that the SP was hemming it up. Absolutely. I've actually got a few of those trailers that the Golden Pig Service. I might end up letting those go. I don't know yet. I might hang on to them. So Randall says, usually when I review a new locomotive, I do it before I make any type of changes to it. That way people know what they expect when they buy the unit. That's how I do it.
I know what you meant, Mike.
All right, let's see here. Nathan said, would you add a movie theater on your layout? And can it be the Three Stooges on theater playing? I really contemplated about doing a drive-in movie theater and having it play like maybe some old Alfred Hitchcock movies. I thought that would be like a good taste, for the late 50s. Was the Three Stooges even out in the late 50s? I don't know. I mean, it's before my time. I mean, I would definitely have to do some research on that. But would the Three Stooges actually be played at drive-in movie theaters? All right, Mark, you are welcome. So for those who came in late, I had a contest video up, and Mark Saunders ended up winning this Atlas N-Scale SD60 locomotive, the Electromotive Demonstrator, number 8300. So, and for those who also came in late, pay attention. On Friday, I will be releasing another contest video for either this N-Scale Monon, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it again, Monon N-Scale Fox Valley Models NS Heritage Unit, or this BNSF GP40. GP40-2R. Both of these are DCC ready. So pay attention to seeing that on Friday. It's going to be another similar video, different questions, probably different locomotives, different rolling stock, and train friend is already saying it, Monongahela. So Monongahela. I guess that's how it's pronounced. It's supposed to be some northeastern railroad, and of course they've got some weird, well, I don't know if it's weird, but difficult names. Let's put it that way. Difficult names. So, all right. Randall is saying, I would love to do that for the club layout one day and have it playing Bleach, Fade to Black, and Dragon Ball Super Broly on it. That would be nuts. Randall, while I was asking you about if you could make it to the train show next weekend, there is a guy who's got an N-scale layout that took his old cell phone and scratch-built a enclosure for it to make it look like a drive-in movie theater screen, and all he does is plays movies on it, and you could actually watch like Back to the Future. He plays the original Star Wars on there. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones, but he plays like a lot of the movies from like the 80s on that cool phone. Yeah, and he's got it in a loop, so that way during the show he doesn't have to go in there and like pick a different movie. It's like once it finishes with one, it'll go to the next, and then go to the next, and then go to the next, and then after that last movie finishes, it will start back over. So, see, Joe, I really don't know. That my knowledge is not really in the Eastern railroads. I know a very little. And Three Stooges were out in the 30s, so probably in 58, they probably would not be on the big screen. All right, Nathan, this is just an idea, not trying to make it sound bad. I wonder if you could add moonshiners, like fast cars running faster than police cars and anything somewhere like that, not trying to be mean. Nathan, you actually are reading my mind because I already have 3 cars that are the Woodland Scenic lighted cars. And one is a black car that's going to be my moonshining car. And then I got 2 cop cars that are supposed to be chasing it. So I will have that on the layout because moonshining was pretty big here too. It wasn't just big up in Appalachia. It was big here as well. So, all right, let's see. All right, looks like Ray is having to split. So bye, have Ray. A good rest of the day.
See you later.
And we got AJ is giving that some really, really good rest. I can see he's resting the top of it and bringing it down. And that's another option too. You could get a Raspberry Pi and a small independent monitor and use that for a movie screen. Absolutely. Yeah, cell phone. I think a cell phone screen would probably be a little too small for HO scale. I know it works great for Ian. And of course, he's got an older cell phone, so the screen's not as big. I think it's I think he told me it was a Samsung Galaxy S3 is what he's using, and for in scale. So,
Thank you, Manny. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
is it going to be Roscoe and Enos chasing Bo and Luke? Why not? I mean, the General Lee always makes it away. And Manny said, Daryl, he thinks you did a great job last week.
Thank you.
All right, so Three Stooges, 1922 to 1970. So maybe, I mean, I don't know. That could be a possibility. All right, so are you going to add any Harpers on your layout? I think I'm going to add a Harbor on mine. No, unfortunately, I will not be adding any Harbors. A lot of the industries in my area would either be both rail served and river served, but the railroads did not really, they didn't load anything on the rivers here. So, may have small tablets for HO scale that you can use for movie screens. So, there you go. I do have an old iPad, so that could very well be a possibility. The Dukes are in Georgia, I think. Yep, Hazard County, Georgia. Which I don't even think there is really a Hazard County. But yeah, it's supposed to be Georgia. So, all right. Randall is saying that his idea was to use one of those mini DVD players for the movie screen. They make 7 and 10-inch versions. Yeah, I mean, these are all different possibilities. Now I just got to figure out where am I going to put it at on my layout. It's going to be the question. I might be able to put it over between Hickory Ridge and Wiener. I haven't scenic that area of the layout yet. So that could be a possibility, you know, on the outskirts of town. So that way the first building that you see when you come into town is the donut shop. So that could be an option. I haven't done a lot of scenery yet. And that's, like I said, I've only been building this layout for like a year now. And, you know, I wanted to get enough track in there to go ahead and do operations because I wanted to be able to play with trains too. I will tell you this, and I don't think all the STS guys are in here. For those who have not been following the Foltz Bailey Model Railroad, that's Rick, and he's going to be hosting next week. He has done a really, really cool series on some buildings on his layout. Where the buildings represent other members of Sidetrack Sunday. He did one for me. It's Wilson Hobbies, so it's on his layout, but that is the building that represents me. The last one he did was Ray's, which was the Navy surplus store. Heath was like a packaging company that went out of business. And then the other one was John's, which was, I think, like a CPA firm. So he pinned a comment on Ray's building because that was the last one. And I told Rick, I said, I'm going to do the same thing for all 4 of the fellow members, but it's not going to be the same buildings. I'm going to be using different buildings. And so that's going to be something that I plan on doing here pretty soon, just kind of starting with that. And I challenged the other 3 to do the same thing on their layouts to, put some buildings on their layouts that kind of represent, you know, us either on a modeler's level or even on a personal level, because we are friends with each other. So, all right, Destroying Cars. Wasn't that the Blues Brothers? That was one of them. And then the original Gone in 60 Seconds video had a lot of cars destroyed in it too. Really nice cars, you know, at that. Hey, Georgia Sunbelt. Anthony's in the house. Welcome, Anthony.
Hello, Anthony.
And Possum Rusty is saying that he has finished 3/4 of his, or wiring 3/4 of his layout. So congratulations on that. And then by the time you start adding LCC or layout command control like I'm doing, you just got a whole lot more wiring to go. So adding all the signals and making sure that you got the perfect block detection and whatnot. So, am I going to be putting Train Freak Hobby Shop on my layout? Probably not. Probably not. I might. Who knows? I'm not going to say yes, and I'm not going to say no. All right, so I wonder if you might add a Moonshine's bar. I heard there very little left and that they had secret compartments so they wouldn't get caught so easily on the inside of the bar. That could be an option. Could be. One of the things I did decide to do in the town of Wiener is I am taking out the Piggly Wiggly. It is too modern, so I will need a couple of buildings to go in there. And ain't that the truth? Rick is addicted to DPM kits. Absolutely he is. But that's okay. All right, Plumber's out of here, so you have a good night, Plumber. Take care, and we will see you next time.
Good night.
That car is looking really good, AJ.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So what will happen to the Piggly Wiggly? I will probably do one of two things with it. I will probably either put it on the queen shelf and find a way to wire it up so it'll be lighted, or I will probably just end up selling it. And Georgia is saying Piggly Wiggly is not a modern grocer. Actually, they are still around. There are still Piggly Wigglies in Arkansas. So, but that one there, the logos are too modern. I did some research on it, and the logos on that building came out in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s in that area. So it's just a little too modern on that one. And it's a Menards building, so everything, it's not like I can take things off because it's pre-lit and all of the signs light up. So I really don't want to try to destroy that model. It's really, really nice. So yeah. You can get pickled pig's feet and pig lips at the pig. I think he meant at the Piggly Wiggly. When did Piggly Wiggly start? It started, I think it was either the 30s or the 40s. Yeah, they've been around for a very long time. But like I said, there are still some stores around in Central Arkansas. And Southeast Arkansas too. And see, Rusty lives in Mississippi. And yeah, he's saying there's 10 miles from his house. There's a Piggly Wiggly 10 miles from his house, but close to his mother's. I think he meant there's not one. I don't know. Sean Pacific says, came in late, but who's weathering? Because it's something I would love to learn. So, Sean, that is Weathering with AJ.
Hey there, man.
So, definitely subscribe to his channel. All right. So, Tina, I got to pop back up here. Tina says she's building the Area 51, Rachel, Nevada area. I've been to Vegas once, stayed in Henderson. Which will have a UFO that has like 50 LEDs, an alien in cafe, as well as a UFO researcher center, and we'll have Men in Black. That would be really cool. Tina, I don't know if you've seen some of the Menards buildings, but they do have a HO scale version. They got an O scale too. It's like alien saucer that has kind of landed on like the building, and it's got a cow that's going up and down under it, and there's like a cowboy that has roped around the cow trying to pull the cow back from the alien, so that's why it's going up and down. I don't know. Yeah, and that is true. Menards is not to scale. It's close, but not to scale. You're absolutely right. But she's also saying that the paint of the UFO with dual color translucent paint that I talked about on her last video, and it will look really cool. So I am looking forward to seeing that. All right, Daryl, what industries are on your layout? I can see, looks like some silos. Looks like silos behind your head.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I was with my dog. I got all kinds of industries. The one that's back in the corner is a petroleum industry. I've got a pretty good um, cold storage facility. I've got a grain facility, but that's more modern. I just got all it covers all bases. I've got all the industries that will cover all the bases. So and here it is again. Mine is super modern. I mean, like within present. So most of my buildings are all concrete tilt-ups. So that's what you see in the background. They're all concrete tilt-ups. So it's just I don't know if that answers your question, but I've got all kinds of industries, and my layout's 80% done. So I mean,
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a way, I kind of think modern is easier to keep up with too. As
yeah,
far as like the manufacturers and whatnot. I really do.
Yeah.
Manny is saying, isn't Menard's owner a train freak? If he is, he's not this train freak. Because I am definitely not the Menard's owner. All right. So Possum is saying, Piggly Wiggly isn't in town exactly. It's more out in the country. I live down the street from a local grocer that's bigger and nicer than the Pig. Yeah. Piggly Wigglies are not really that nice of a store.
I've never heard of a Piggly Wiggly.
Me either.
Yeah. It's Eastern U.S. Now it's kind of like South Central. Steven says, hints about Menards. And yes, this is true. If you go up to the second floor of the store, they have the model railroad stuff year round. They offer so much more in O, and it's actually O gauge, not O scale. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. It's like Lionel. But they do offer some really, really nice pieces in O. And that's, part of the reasons why it's not to scale, because it's not O scale, it's O gauge. That's, like I said, Lionel. But they did bring some down to HO, and it's not complete, but, like Dave, Crooked River and Eastern, he's got that Taco Bell. That's a Menards building. I've got, the Morton Salt. I think it's probably going to end up coming off as well. I think it's a little too modern for what I'm doing. But I'm going to have another building in its place. Gamer and Thrones is going to be relocated because where it's at right now, I can't easily reach it anymore to do car drop-offs. So that one I'm going to end up keeping, but I'll probably end up selling the Morton Salt and most likely possibly the Piggly Wiggly as well. Tom's Trains and Things. How goes it, Tom? Long time no see. Well, of course, it's been a long time since I streamed.
Hey there, Tom.
All right, Nathan is saying, I think you should just for run a cap for it and make it look like they're recording a movie similar how Unstoppable, the movie, is made in a 50s version of movies. It would be awesome. That would be tough to do. Trying to run a cab forward with the crew not on it. Because if it was a steam engine and there was no crew, that the locomotive probably would have exploded. Either that or the fire would have died out and it would have just stopped generating steam. But that could be something that could easily be done with like older diesel locomotives, like a Jeep 7 SD9 RS3, for example. All right, so Tina's saying the train store I do work for has a lot of Menards, but it's mostly for O scale. They have many of them wired up on a small layout for people to see when they come into the store. And even their buildings, they offer more for O scale than HO. So, because there was quite, like, I do love that nuclear power plant in O scale. It's got like a disco ball on the inside for like the nuclear reactor. To me, it's like really, really cool. I wouldn't put it on my layout, but to me, it's a pretty cool building. All right. And that is absolutely true. Modern area is much easier to do research on, especially class ones. I mean, you can do definitely do some research on some of the older class ones. You try to do older short lines, good luck if you can find any information. Another good point. Modern era, you can have any era building, something people don't think about much.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Anthony's talking about IGA. We've had some of those in Arkansas as well. We've had some IGAs. Let's see here. All right. You think you'll ever run steam engines on your layout? Absolutely. So I do have the cab forward. That was introduced in the contest video about a week ago. And I do have a heavyweight Southern Pacific passenger set in two-tone gray that I really like to run with that steam locomotive as like an excursion train. So that's kind of one of the freelance things that I plan on doing on my layout. But that's also like if I can ever hook up with a club, because I don't know if we have any clubs here. That would be a really good train for me to run on that layout. It's my cab forward and I think it's like 11 or 12 Walder's classic heavyweight passenger cars that are with it. Be a lot of fun to run that. And yeah, the fire station's really cool, but I haven't seen it in HO scale. The police station's pretty cool too. Yeah, then you'd have a runner range train since it's the F unit and older Jeeps. Okay, I finally caught back up to the chat. Sometimes it's like the chat will get away from me and then it catches back up. So,
who is Mojave Model Railroad? Does she have a layout?
Yes, Tina Marie. She's out of the outskirts of Las Vegas.
Okay,
and she had. Tina, is your layout still up, or I think she mentioned that it got damaged or something. She's got a really, really cool layout, and she kind of did, I would say, modern as well, if not like 2020 or 20 teens, definitely 2000s modern.
Okay.
But yeah, she's got a real nice layout, and she's done some custom weathering and graffiti on her cars and has done an excellent job on that as well. So
I've actually seen her videos. I think I'm pretty sure.
All right, let's see here. If you're in the West Plains, Missouri area in October, drop on by. I'm sure the guys will let you run that locomotive on the layout. I bet you they would. All right, yeah. So Tina says she had to pull it apart, but it is all up and running again. So that is great. And thank you, John, for posting Tina's channel in the chat for me.
Thank you, because thank you, John. I was just going to say the same thing because I'm going to click onto it right now.
Yep. Tina does nice scenery work as well. All right. Nathan is saying, how many snowplows, but with steam engines, do you have? I think for me, it would be easy to make just one. So the thing about Arkansas, Nathan, is we don't get much snow. Now, in 2021, you could easily call me a liar on that because we had what we call Snowmageddon. So in the years, I was telling this to Daryl one day. I was just on the phone with him, just shooting the breeze with him. In the years of 2018, 2019, and 2020, all 3 years collectively, we only got 1 inch of snow out of those 3 years collectively. We got quite a bit of ice, but not a lot of snow. 2021 rolls around, February of 2021, and we had 2 winter storms come in and dumped 11 inches of snow in 2 weeks. So that's why we call it Snowmageddon, because down in Arkansas, you're not really used to seeing snow.
No.
And, ice, so our road crews, they're not prepared for it because why are they going to go and invest in a whole bunch of taxpayer money for something that rarely ever happens? So snowplow, I do have one, and it is a Alco rotary snowplow that I did fit Tsunami 2 in it, and the rotary on the front does spin, but it still has to be pushed by another locomotive, which is how it actually ran, because even the rotaries today would still have locomotives pushing it. So that's a very true statement. And speaking of diamonds, I will be going down there for Labor Day weekend. So I am looking to hopefully find me a diamond, because Arkansas is the only diamond producing state in the U.S.
Oh,
16 years ago. Yeah, like I said, it snows rarely. Most of the time when it does snow, we get like a dusting. But other than that, it's mostly a wintry mix. We don't really just get snow. We get a lot of freezing rain, a lot of sleet. Yeah, don't let it fall off, dude. That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's sick. That is awesome. I like how you added the scratching from like at the door for the door sliding. That is awesome.
Oh yeah, at all the like box cars I've seen for this one, they all have those sliding door scratches.
Yeah. And see, Dave is saying 11 inches is nothing. And for most people, you're right. 11 inches is nothing. For here, 11 inches is a lot. Because like I said, collectively, the 3 years combined it before we got the 11 inches, we only received a total of 1 inch of snow over a 3-year span. So you're talking in 2 weeks, we received what we would get on average 33 years worth of snow in 2 weeks. And Snowmageddon, it shut down. It literally shut down our whole state. Postal Service even shut down. Yeah, the United States Postal Service, that's not supposed to shut down for anything, ended up shutting down because of Snowmageddon. So, all right. So Bernard is saying, Randall, they never did mine. Had to buy my own and greater than dozer and dump truck. Tina is saying that is some great weathering. Many people miss the scratching from the door. So cool to see it weathered on that model. Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much.
Am I going to add in comic book stores? Did they even have comic books back in the 50s? I don't know if they did or didn't. So, but you know, to tag on to Snowmageddon, it got worse down in Texas than it did for us, because down there, a lot of the windmills froze up. They actually turned the windmills off to prevent them from freezing up, and they could never get them restarted. And that's what started causing all of the rolling blackouts. Yeah, there you go. So if the Postal Service has to shut down, then you know it's bad. And my younger brother works for the highway department, and he said that was one of the worst jobs, winter storm jobs he had to ever do. Tina's saying she's got a lot planned for 2023. Might have some interesting news by that point. Oh, that'd be interesting to know. All right, so there you go. Comic books were the main form of entertainment in the 50s for kids. So I don't see why I couldn't have. Oh, they were at newsstands. So they were not at a comic book store. They were at the newsstands. So that is good information to know. So I might have to look at trying to put in a newsstand somewhere on my layout. So that way,
I'm sorry. I did that on purpose. No, I didn't mean to do that on purpose. Sorry. I told you I got to stop. I got to stop touching things.
But yeah, I mean, that's, you know, as what I'm talking about, I might have to try to find a way to either find a HO scale newsstand or maybe scratch build one to go on the layout. So that way I could do comic books.
That would be a great idea.
Yeah. Now, I do have a drugstore on the layout, so there you go.
All right, we're going to do the roof. This is going to be
all right. Now, keep in mind, that car is supposed to be like 40, 50 years old. So, like I said, go all out. Go nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Go crazy.
Get some bigger paintbrushes for this one. All right.
Okay, so Dwight said something started in the 70s. I'm not sure if he's talking about.
Wasn't that the Bee Gees?
BG started in the 70s?
I don't know.
Oh,
Okay.
Mom is saying good night. So good night, Mom.
Good night.
Have a great week.
Good night.
Yeah. See, that's what we're used to is ice storms. And I will tell you this, for y'all that get snow, it is so much easier to drive on snow, especially when it gets packed in, than ice. You cannot drive on ice. Wait, don't even try.
Hey, Jason,
I don't care if
I'm gonna just step off real quick. My dog's whining, so I gotta take. I'll be back.
All right, that's fine. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop you down.
Yeah,
when you come back, I'll pull you back up. All right, cool.
Okay.
All right, so Steven is saying that he thinks Bar Mills FOS has a new stand. It's part of another kit. Oh, I'll have to look to see if I can't try to find that. Superman, Sergeant Rock, Batman, all good comics from back then. All right, so Dave is saying good night. Catch you all later. Ice storms are nasty. Absolutely, ice storms are nasty. So, Dave, have a good night, my friend, and you take care.
See you later, Dave.
Yeah, this is the ice you can't see. We call it black ice. It's really, really paper thin, but it's still as slick. All right, so very good question, Nathan. How did I get into operations? How do you find the intriguing timeline you're modeling, and how did it intrigue you, and what advice would you give someone who gets into operations? So, Nathan, I've been in model railroading since 2000, I'm going to say 2007 is when I got back into it. So I've been into model railroading for 15 years now. I think that's, if I do the math right, it's 15 years. And, well, go. If you want to go, Mom, go. I'm not going to keep you here. I'm going to keep going, but you can go to bed. You have a good night. Have a great week. All right. So Nathan, a few years ago, I got real bored of watching just a train go around in a circle. I always had a circle layout. And I was like, you know what? I started with a 4x8 sheet of plywood. I got bored with it. I was like, well, maybe I should go bigger. Maybe if I go bigger, I wouldn't get so bored. Got bored with that. Went even bigger. I had a circular layout that was in my garage. And I got bored with that. And so it's like, I kind of wanted to quit the hobby at that time. And I just came across a couple of YouTube channels. And it talked about doing operations. And I was like, this is interesting. And one of the big channels was Eric's channel, IMRRO.com, because he actually went in depth and explained things to where you could understand it. And good night, man, Shed. You take care, my friend. I will hopefully see you next weekend at the train show.
Good night, man.
So operations, it's not just running a train in a circle. You could have a circle layout and do operations, but that's not necessarily what I wanted. I'm not one of those that likes watching trains just run in circles. It's just not me. And that's not to say that, for someone it is for, hey, that's great. Do what you like. As far as getting into operations, you have to do a lot of research, because you need to know, like, your industries on your layout. What are they receiving? What are they shipping? Are they making something? So what all goods do you need in order to ship out that, that product? And it's just a lot of research, and I still do a lot of research. So the first thing I would tell someone that wants to get into operations, figure out how you want to do it. Do you want to do the car cards and waybill system? That works great for some people. I didn't have a problem with it. For me, it took a lot more time setting up. Or do you want to go the route with JMRI Operations Pro? I kind of like that one better. There's still a lot of setup involved. But I let the computer do the randomization for me. But I do have rules on how it can and can't randomize things. So I would say definitely the first thing you want to do is research. And that's whether you want to be error specific or not error specific. Definitely do some research. All right, let's see here. Daryl's not back yet, but his trains are still running. All right, I'm going to see if I can find where we're at. All right, so Sean is saying, don't laugh, but I had the whole collection of Beavis and Butthead comic books. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Sean, did you see that covered hopper? I think it might have been earlier this year or last year, but I caught a covered hopper where someone did a heck of a graffiti job of Beavis and Butthead on it, and it says the Soul Brothers. It's on one of my rail fanning videos. Oh yeah, that looks nasty.
It's
nasty.
covered.
Yeah, nasty good right there.
No, it's not.
Randall says he's got Shonen Jump magazines. All right. That chat just keeps jumping on me. All right, Sean, the village I live in has or at least had the largest Beavis and Butthead collection in the world. Brian Benson. Sorry, Jace, tuning in late from Southern Oregon, Medford. Well, welcome, Brian. Glad to have you pop on in. A mulligan card? Do you operations guys and gals have a mulligan card? I do not. Steven, that does not surprise me that Jason Jensen has a build video of a newsstand. Jason Jensen does amazing work. So Rusty's saying he has the Archie comic books made back in the day. Rusty, do you ever watch the TV series called Riverdale? It's supposed to be based off of the Archie comics. All right, Joe Rader's out, so have a good night. And it looks like Daryl is back.
I am back. Yeah, I had to take the dog out for a quick walk and feed him.
Oh, I can understand that one.
Yep. That was fast.
Yeah.
So since you are fellow dog owners, I'll let AJ start. What breed of dog is yours?
My dog is a golden retriever and a Labrador mixed.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send her a picture. I'll send a picture of her in one of my videos, or I'll probably show her right now at the very end, so you guys can see her.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely do that. Daryl, what about you?
Well, I just have the one right now. He's mixed. He's mostly shepherd, but he's got some lab in him.
Okay.
And he's a big dog. There's no two questions about it. So he's a protector. As I leave my garage door open during the daytime, so anybody can come in, but he's the protector. So I don't socialize him. So that's why he's you get what I'm saying.
Oh, trust me, I do. I've got 2 Great Danes, and they're not socialized either.
Yeah, and I do that for a reason.
I pity the fool that tries to break into my house.
Exactly.
Because, I'm 5'10", and both of my dogs can put their paws on my shoulders.
Wow.
So, yeah, they're females too. And I will tell you this, to me, it seems like female dogs are more aggressive than the males. I don't know why that is, but it's
true.
So
bring that up again, AJ. Bring it up.
Okay, so it's still drying. You guys didn't see it because I was holding it like this in front of the fan, so my arms got tired, so I just left it right here. But
yeah, it looks like a brown oxide paint.
Yeah, it's let me see. I think it's burnt umber. Yeah.
Burnt umber. There you go.
Burnt umber.
For you guys. That's a good color. I know he's not done with it yet.
Oh, this is just the start.
Yeah.
So Tina says that Goldens are the best, that she's got 4 of them. So we all know Tina's got her hands full with 4 dogs.
4 dogs?
I mean, I got my hands full with 2. And they think they're lap dogs when it comes to me. So, Especially when I'm up on the recliner trying to watch TV. They want to get up in my lap, and then I can't see the TV because they're big bodies.
Yeah.
All right. Jason, I saw you drink Mountain Dew. It reminds me of the trains I built for you because some of them I built are made out of the Mountain Dew can. Absolutely. And this stream is not sponsored by Mountain Dew, just FYI. I'm just drinking a Mountain Dew because I'm thirsty. And then when I run out of Mountain Dew, I got a flavored water with Mio in it, which is also not sponsored by this live stream. So Mojave is saying all of hers are rescued, one from China, from the meat market, one from the streets, one was from a divorce, and neither wanted the dog, and one from a rescue. Both of mine are actually rescues as well. They grew up in I don't know what you would call it, but drug dealers. Was breeding dogs trying to make extra money to produce more of their drugs. And they were actually starving the dogs to death, and the animal rescue rescued them, and then I ended up getting them. Not from the same town that I live in, so but that's how I got my two. So mine are both rescues, and they're both sisters. Let's see here. Yeah, they are usually gentle giants, but I will tell you this: Great Danes are very, very territorial. If they know you do not belong in that space, they will defend their territory. Not aggressive, just territorial. So, OTR says a staffy boxer cross, black with white toes and chest. And misses hers that she's gone now. That's sad. All right, John, thank you. Have a great night. Thank you so much for posting up links to the other channels.
Good night, John. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, good night, John.
Corey says he's got a pound puppy. Made her way through a bunch of shelters, and we adopted her. I think adopted dogs are the best. All right, Train Fan's got two dogs, White Lab and a West Highland Terrier. Both are females, and both came from breeders. And there's nothing wrong, with, breeded dogs. And for the record, I'm not sponsored by Subway, regardless of what signs my niece holds up. There you go.
Man, Subway sounds good.
A pity. Dixie 11, female red nose pit bull, Alfie 9 male Great Dane boxer mix. Zearo, I guess that's, or Zero, I don't know how that one's pronounced, is a dark male or brindle pit bull. I love pit bulls. I wish we could have them. Actually had two pit bulls before we got our Great Danes, but our homeowner's insurance will not allow us to have them here. So, unfortunately, I had to give my pits away. All right, Jason, I'm thinking of doing operations, and because of us somewhere feeling how you feel like it was just a loop and being boring, in my opinion, but more freelanced. So one of the best advices I can give you, Nathan, is if you build a railroad yard, don't try to keep it packed full of cars. Definitely do not try to keep it packed full of cars, because railroad yards are never, ever full. So that's a good model to live off of. All right. Zero, but spelled with an I. So it is Zero. All right. Rusty had a Chihuahua and a Fox Terrier once. That was mean as Saint himself. Yeah, the smaller dogs are what I like to call the ankle biters. They feel like they got something to prove.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So what are we doing next, AJ?
Okay, so we're going to get the ice bubble alcohol. I'm going to get a bigger piece of the napkin. And I can just rip it off from here. I'm just going to rip off piece of napkin right here. Because we don't need too much. And then we'll fold it like this. Hold it into your finger like this.
Yep.
And dab on the top.
Okay.
But this spot won't dry. I'm waiting for it.
That means you put some heavy paint on that one.
I did.
All right, Bernard's saying that some of the best dogs had the worst owners, and I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, ankle biters have a Napoleon complex. But yeah, I used to have pit bulls. I grew up with a chow, and man, I'll tell you, chow, whoo, that is the meanest dog I have ever owned was a chow, and he was full blooded. He was black, had a black tongue too. I mean, he looked like a miniature black bear. But yeah, mean dog.
Okay. All right, let's get started.
All right, so let's see here. Rusty saying the yellow lab. Golden Retriever mix passed away a couple years ago. He was laid back as you could get and still breathing. Yeah, there you go. Chow chow. That was that, and I really couldn't say that he was my dog. He was more my parents' dog because I was like Junior's age when we had that dog. But yeah, man, I grew up with dogs and cats. The only pet I didn't have was like birds. I didn't have any pet birds. My mom wouldn't let me have any pet snakes. My wife won't let me have any pet snakes. So no reptiles. So I had a couple of Dalmatian lab mixes. I've had a couple of those. All right, Mark, have a good night. And do not forget to send me an email with your shipping information so that way I can get this dude off to you. I'm finally glad to give it away.
Good night, Mark.
Good night, Mark.
I grew up, I had a fish tank. I still got a fish tank, but my wife won't let me put fish in it no more because she says it makes the house stink. But I got a 55-gallon aquarium out in the shed with a stand that I custom built myself, carpentry.
Yeah, fish tanks is a whole different ball game with me.
Yeah.
That's another hobby I have.
Nathan, if I would ever own a snake, I would get a king snake. Okay, awesome, Mark. Have a good night. You take care. And the only reason why I say I'd have a king snake is so that way when I see a cottonmouth or a copperhead in my yard or a rattlesnake, because we do have some of those here too, I could go inside, grab my king snake, and let the king snake take care of it naturally. So, yeah, we've got several venomous snake species here. Several. Now, I did date a girl when I was in high school and college. She had a pet raccoon. That was interesting. But yeah, that would be the only reason why I'd have a pet snake. OTR says, I had dogs, have kids now. The wife says, I can't just put a bowl of food and water out back and walk. Then the Arvo, geez, my dogs are a heap more grateful than for that. Yeah, I'm sure they're everywhere. So it depends on the type of rattlesnake, Nathan. Most of the time, what I have to use is either a garden hoe or a shovel and, find a way to pin it down and, decapitate it. because that's definitely not what you want in your area. And I'm not really a fan of just killing just to be killing. But we got a lot of young kids around, small pets. If I see it and I don't take care of it, then I know either someone else will, or there's a potential that a little kid's going to get bit. Because I've got a neighbor that's got a 2-year-old that likes to run outside. So, and I don't live in the city. I live in the county. So, to get EMS here takes like 5-10 minutes, or take that back, 10 to 15 minutes. And that's if traffic's clear in town. We've got those copperhead, cottonmouth. We've got the western diamondback. We've got which is a rattlesnake. We got what's called the prairie rattlesnake. We got a timber rattlesnake. Timbers are the real big ones. And then we have a pygmy rattlesnake. And then the other venomous snake that we don't have it in my area, it's more like in the southwest part of the state, is the Texas coral snake. All right, Anthony, have a good night. You take care, my friend, and we will see you next time.
Good night, Anthony.
Bye, Anthony.
So,
okay.
That would be cool, but my wife already said no. But I'm just thinking, oh, that looks really, really good.
Okay, so that looks a bit weird because this side is like all like covered. But I'm going off of a prototype photo here. Let me show you actually. There was a photo online and I saw it and I was like, all right, well, this car's blue. Might as well do it. So let me take off the charger. Here's my school Chromebook.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
There it. I'm trying not to break anything.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing a good job.
Yeah. So next step is to make the more orange rust. But we're gonna be doing that with the wash.
Okay. I like Vallejo. They make good stuff. All right, OTR, you have a good night, buddy.
Good night, OTR.
Good night, man.
So, out of all the venomous snakes in my area, probably the worst one would be the pygmy rattlesnake. And the reason why, because, most rattlesnakes, they'll rattle their tails to warn you before they strike. So they give you time to stop what you're doing, check your surroundings, and back up. Like, they're not just going to attack you to attack you. The pygmy rattlesnake, on the other hand, he's little. They only get like 2 to 2.5 feet in length, so they're real small. Their rattle doesn't sound anything like the bigger rattlesnakes, and they'll bite you before they rattle. So, like, you really have to pay attention. Their rattle kind of sounds more like a bee, like a bumblebee buzzing, than most of the rattlesnakes' rattles that you hear. So. But I would say probably the most populated snakes would be either copperheads or cottonmouths. And for those that don't know, a cottonmouth is also the same thing as a water moccasin. It's just a cottonmouth. It's kind of their trade name because when they open up that mouth, it's like solid white. Yeah. All right, Bernard is saying you are doing a super job, AJ.
Thank you.
Oh, Dwight's got 2 snakes upstairs right now. Very well so. Yeah, very well. Yeah. So... But yeah, I mean, the Texas coral snake, that is the only venomous snake in our area that's not a pit viper. And they're rare to come by too. Oh, Nathan, I am nowhere close to the golden spike, buddy. The guy that I would say is probably the closest to the golden spike would be Caboose 121. He is up in that area.
All right. That is it for the roof.
Yep.
All right, so now we're going to do the ends.
Yep. C-Train fan, that's very similar. We know it. It's a very similar saying. It's red on black is a friend of Jack, and red on yellow will kill a fellow. But very similar. Hey, John Arthur, man, your ears must have been burning because I talked about you earlier. Where have you been? So, we were talking about how you challenged me on this dude. So, yep, John Arthur's got the exact same car, same road number and everything. We did a collab once. And so we mentioned about how you shared with me about JC's Rip Track. Because we had a couple of people in here earlier asking about, where should a beginner go to learn about how to weather? And so I told them what you told me. High Plains, you're exactly correct. Yeah, we got to do more of that. Absolutely. Wait, challenges or collaborations? Rodeos. So the girl that I mentioned that I dated back when I was in high school, college, that had a pet raccoon, she also did rodeo, high school rodeo. So, yeah, they do have rodeos here, that's for sure. Bull riding, steer wrestling, barrel racing, pole bending, roping, team roping, you name it. They do rodeos here. Yep, see, there you go. John Arthur saying, great channel for weathering right there. JC's Rip Track. Oh, he's saying both, but yeah, okay, we'll do the collabs. We'll definitely do the collabs. All right, there you go. Promontory Point. There you go. If anybody knows any of these questions are Human Railroad Encyclopedia, Mr. Tim, CP368 Productions, could definitely get you the answer on that. That is true. That is absolutely true. Well, I mean, Australia's got like some of the most deadliest animals out there. Yeah, I'm not going to compare my snakes, to Africa or Australia. Africa's got some deadly ones too. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to compare mine to theirs, but they're still deadly here, especially to kids. So, yeah. Yes, I have caught, and you can go and look at some of my rail finning videos. I have caught the 844 a few times. I have caught the big boy. I've even caught the 844 without a diesel locomotive behind it. So it was straight steam. That was it. No diesel power behind it. I have caught that. Wasn't pulling much, but I have caught it. But yes, I have. And I have met... dadgummit, my mind just went blank. Nathan, if you wouldn't have asked me, I wouldn't have told you. See, now I feel bad because my mind just went blank on that. But I have met the engineer. I've actually shaken hands with him a couple of times, a couple of occasions. My friend Craig, who owns Arkansas Traveler Hobbies, who used to be a federal DOT inspector for the railroads, knows him personally. So, and I have been introduced on a couple of occasions.
All right, I'm gonna weather the couplers now.
Yeah.
No, the ends are done.
Oh, Steve, I am not going to argue with you on that one.
Yeah.
So now we're painting couplers. Yeah, couplers need rust on them too.
As a former weathering person, I would say the couplers would be one of the most important parts of weathering.
So, Jason, did you know that Union Pacific makes their steam engines work different? Instead of putting water in the engine, they put hot water in the engine, and then 2 hours they put fire and use car oil. Yeah, I did know that. Actually, only one of the big boys ever, or I think it was only like 1 or 2, maybe 3 of the big boys originally used coal. Most of your more modern steam locomotives would use oil instead of coal because it burned more efficiently. Now, the big boys that did have coal actually had an auger. A lot of people didn't know this. It had an auger because the firemen couldn't fill the firebox fast enough, so they had to use an auger to load the firebox with coal from the big boy.
Well, speaking of the 4014, I've got pictures of my boys when they were little in Pomona, California, where 4014 was stored for years. My kids grow up and I took pictures. I took video of when they took 44 or 4014 from Pomona Fairgrounds. And that was quite a show. Really, really interesting how they did that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Well, yeah. And so like we have a steam locomotive here. They were trying to restore it, but they gave up on efforts. It's the Cotton Belt 819. And it is comparable to the 844. I actually got to ride in one of the passenger cars behind it on its last run. So no one knew that it was going to be the last run. Speaking of the deadly drivers, yep. And that's because our laws are not as strict as like it is on the German Autobahn. But the 819, the Cotton Belt one, it never burned coal. It was a straight oil burner from the beginning. So, and see, even now, the steam locomotives at the Durango and Silverton narrow gauge, those are all being converted to oil. They're not allowed to use coal anymore from the big fire in what year was it that I went up there? It was 2019. I think it's when that happened. I can't remember. I know the year that I went up there was the last year that they were running coal. Well, Nathan, you got, what is it, the Norfolk and Western 811 in your area? I mean, that's a pretty slick looking steam locomotive that's not going to ever make it to my part of the country. See, Cotton Belt 819 got her in trains, a new era. Now we just need her in HO scale, made by a more modern model maker. So, if you train fan, West Side Models Brass made a what's called a Southern Pacific GS8. The GS8 are the Cotton Belt locomotives that were leased to the SP for commuter service. So if you wanted, so the N&W 611. So if you wanted a Cotton Belt 819 locomotive, you would actually have to go and get a West Side Models Brass GS8 steam locomotive. I'm surprised Heath is still in here. That's interesting. Okay, 2015. So it must have been 2014 that I went. I don't know how long it's been. I just know that I went to Durango, Colorado to the Soundtracks facility to become factory trained. So I don't think it was 2014. Let's see. Aaron would have been in. It was between his kindergarten and first grade year, and he's going into the sixth grade now. So 2017, I think it's when I went. 2016, somewhere in that area. No offense to anyone, but Western coal is crap anyway. Has about as much BTUs as burning newspaper. Yeah, I don't know all about that. So now the reason why Durango and Silverton had to convert to oil is because of the fire, and the Colorado state government pretty much told them, you're either converting to oil or we're just going to shut you down. Cumbres and Toltec had to do the same thing because part of their route is in Colorado.
How you doing, AJ?
Good, very good. I just finished your car in general now, so all the important parts.
So we got Snell on one side, we got a custom logo on the other side, which I think is really cool. You got it weathered really, really good.
Very good, AJ.
I like that. Jason the Train, that is awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So the only thing is, did you sign it anywhere?
I put Tony in the back over here.
Is it under Snell?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. I had to make sure that you signed it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So, yeah, no problem.
Pretty cool project. I haven't done a boxcar in. Oh wait, no, I did your Cotton Belt boxcar. Yeah,
well, yeah, but not like to that extent.
Yeah, I think you know what the last boxcar I did, it was something like this. It was the boxcar for Darrow.
Okay.
The D-Roll Darrow boxcar. I still have to
ship. Well, how about that? Back-to-back boxcars is mine and Darrow's. That's cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah. All right. So that is it for that, and then I'll do your the wheels. Here you go.
Yep, train fan one tourney. I think you're right on that. And what's really cool is, so for those who follow the Soundtracks YouTube channel, George has his own YouTube channel. It's called Goalie George, and I can't remember the rest of it. I could try to look it up real quick and see if I could put it in there. But he's actually got a video of the Durango and Silverton doing what they call fire mitigation. And it was just really cool to see this narrow gauge steam locomotive pulling not passenger cars, but flat cars with logs on it. I was like, that is cool. Because, the passenger is great and all, especially you get to ride and whatnot, because most of us don't get to see that anymore unless you're like Heath, living in New York City with Amtrak and all the other commuters and the subways and stuff. But I don't know, just kind of like it was a video of like really going back in time, to see like really old locomotives pulling really old freight cars, even though the commodities are modern. So, all right. John Arthur is saying that looks great. JD saying the same thing. Nathan says, saw the 611. It wasn't running. They were fixing on it. And I let Sparky take my picture with the engine, and it's on my YouTube meet and greet with Sparky in my video. That's cool.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right. Yep. A lot of people are saying that's looking awesome. A lot of people.
Thank you, guys. Means a lot.
Yep. Train fan saying this coming year will be my final year of high school. One more year until I am forced to go to college. Well, hopefully you pick a good school.
Forced to go to college.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Okay, he says not really forced, but his parents are really pushing him. He says he's got a college picked out. I did a 4-year university. I did a couple years of it and ended up transferring to a community college. Ended up saving a lot of money doing it that way. All of my college is already paid off, and all I have is an associate's. But hey, it gets me what I need to get done. It got my job. So, and if I try to go and get my bachelor's, then I'm not going to get a pay raise, and then I'm just going to want to leave. But if I leave, then I'm going to mess up my retirement. So I think I'm good where I'm at. But I would encourage anybody to go get some type of higher education, whether it's college or a trade school. Either or.
Yeah. I'm going to go to college to be a conductor.
There you go.
Yeah, I like in the beginning I didn't want to because you're like always on call and you're on call like on vacations and everything.
So the person you really need to talk to would be Split Rock.
Split Rock?
Yeah, he's an engineer for Union Pacific.
Yeah, I'll definitely give Split Rock an email. But the person I'm talking to right now is currently in college, becoming a conductor as well.
Yep. There you go.
So,
get you some options.
Yeah.
Thomas Grassi is saying he is a self-educated man, and there is nothing wrong with that either.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately, self-educated in this day and time doesn't get you as far as it would like 20, 30, 40 years ago. All right, 611 was an accident. It's the only survivor, and it does run, but it has minor dents from the same accident and some of the seam domes. Okay. Arty wants to know if you're going to be a music conductor.
What does that mean, a music conductor?
Is the one who leads an orchestra.
Oh.
Up there with the little wand, and they kind of go back and forth, trying to keep everyone in tune.
Yeah. No, I'm going to drive trains, Arty.
There you go. Train fan's going to go to college for mortuary affairs and funeral service. There is definitely money in that business. I would not disagree with you on that one. I'll tell you another big money business out there, and a lot of y'all would think I'm crazy, but let me explain it and tell you why. Owning a landfill. There is definitely money to be made in that because guess what? People pay you for you to take their trash, and then the methane that your landfill builds, you sell it. What expenses do you have really owning a landfill besides paying property taxes? You don't need utilities. Oh, she'll be coming around the mountain, or I've been working on the railroad. Johnny Cash did. I've been working on the railroad. I don't know if he did. I've been coming around the mountain. I don't know, Daryl. Which one do you like better?
On what?
So Nathan wants to know: do you like more "She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain" or "I've Been Working on the Railroad"? Songs.
Both of them sound good to me. I don't have a preference.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I'm a Johnny Cash fan. Absolutely.
Well, I'm definitely partial to Johnny Cash because the town that he was born in is only about 30 minutes from the town I grew up in. And he grew up on the Cotton Belt Railroad too.
Yeah, and Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley, they partied together.
Oh, yeah.
They partied together. So, unfortunately, the king, he's still the king no matter what.
And the Man in Black as well.
And
I've met his daughter, or one of his daughters.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the movie? The new Elvis movie?
That's right, Lynn. I heard a train a coming.
John Arthur, I wish you the best of luck on that one, dude. Because there was so many different musicians that use that. You might be able to find a non-copyright version on it. That's what I did on the Crazy Train one that I've got. So, yep, Train Fan, that's because John Arthur models the Seaboard Airline. Speaking of the Orange Blossom special, this is a boxcar that John Arthur wish he had, and I will not give it to him. And it's weathered, too. Got the Orange Blossom special on it. So, there you go. That was, I think, Seaboard's train main passenger line that went from Florida up to Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. Or it might have went all the way to New York City, but I'm sure one of the other railroads would have picked it up in Richmond, Virginia. John would know that answer. Yeah, I do like Willie Nelson's version of The City of New Orleans. That's a good song. All right, Heath, have a good night, bud. You take care.
Good night, Heath.
Good night, Heath.
John's saying he's going to have to make his own boxcar.
All right, guys. We're almost on to the last step.
Oh, John, I think somebody offered their services for you. There you go, John. Tim said he will sing it and you can use it. All right, guys. Well, my headphones are actually dying on me, so I'm not going to be able to hear y'all very soon. So I am going to have to go ahead and shut this bad boy down because this one just died, and this one's going to die any minute. So I hate to do that, but if I can't hear you, I can't hear you. So,
well, we've been at it for 3 hours.
Yeah, it's been. I'm down for a break.
Yeah.
So,
guys, like I said, I appreciate y'all being on stream with me. This was a lot of fun. AJ, you're doing a great job on the car. Daryl, both of y'all, thank you for covering me for last month, especially last minute. And like I said, I consider both of y'all as honorary Sidetrack Sunday members.
Thank you,
for people in the chat, if you want to post your if you got any news, upcoming stuff, you name it, your subscriber counts, go ahead and throw that up in the chat for everyone to see. Maybe there's someone in here not subscribed to you. I encourage everybody to check out everybody's channel here. So, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to go ahead and end this very, very soon. So, and also, Daryl, thank you so much for helping me on doing that contest and letting me use your idea, even though it is modified a little bit. But I plan on doing it again, and it's a great idea.
Thank you.
So, if it wasn't a great idea, I wouldn't be using it. So, I'll put it that way.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Y'all take care, and y'all be safe.
Yeah. See you guys later. Bye.
All right. Bye.